The tension in the courtroom is almost palpable. Highly polished wood shimmers beneath harsh overhead lights, but nobody pays it any mind. All eyes are up front, where Meri stands clutching a folder that holds the key to unraveling years of hidden truths. Her hands shake a little, but she has her chin up. Her voice steadies as she readies herself to speak. Across the room, Kody sits ramrod straight, his jaw clenched, his gaze fixed on some point far away, yet flicking occasionally toward her. Beside him, Robyn's posture is stiff, her hands folded tightly in her lap, her nails digging into her palms and betraying the storm inside her. The courtroom smells of polished floors and fresh ink from court documents, and of something less tangible, the sharp metallic tang of tension. The judge, stern in his black robes, clears his throat, and the room falls silent. "Ms. Meri, you may proceed," he says, his voice slightly echoing off the walls. Meri takes a deep breath in, filling her lungs with air, then launches into her speech. "For years," she says, her voice low but deliberate, "I have lived with questions. Questions about honesty, loyalty, and the trust which holds a family together. Questions I can no longer ignore." She opens the folder and slides a sheaf of documents toward the court clerk, who passes them to the judge. The papers rustle softly, a sound that seems louder than it should in the tense atmosphere. Among them are DNA test results, financial records, and a trail of text messages, evidence she has collected, piece by painstaking piece, to show a hidden side of Kody and Robyn's life that the public has never seen. The prosecution stands up, and the room shifts uncomfortably, as if it senses what's about to be shown. Every document Meri presents feels like a small explosion, shattering years of concealed truths that have been masquerading as calm. The judge looks down at the evidence, furrowing his brow, scanning numbers and names. Murmurs ripple through the audience. Kody's face remains stoic for the most part, but his hands twitch a little in his lap. Robyn bites her lip, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. The tension is intolerable. Like the moment before a storm breaks, Meri continues, relating moments few could ever conceptualize, private conversations overheard, promises broken, and late-night secrets kept in whispers. Her words were precise, deliberate, and dripping with emotion. Each sentence was carefully constructed to cut to the heart of the issue without straying into bitterness. She's not there to attack. She's there to reveal the truth. The defense rises. Kody's attorney, a seasoned litigator with sharp eyes, would weave a narrative calculated to diminish Meri's claims. He portrays her evidence as misinterpretation, a grudge amplified over time. "Your Honor," he begins smoothly, "while the documents presented by Miss Meri are detailed, we believe the conclusions drawn are exaggerated. Emotions are running high, and perception can often distort reality. But Meri is ready. She responds to each claim calmly, occasionally pausing for effect, letting the weight of her words sink in. "Your Honor," she says, "these are not interpretations. These are facts, and they prove what has been hidden from this family for far too long." Her gaze sweeps over Kody and Robyn. Kody shifts uncomfortably in his seat, the first crack in his composure. Robyn exhales sharply. A small tremor in her hand reveals her nervousness. The courtroom seems to hold its collective breath as the next piece of evidence is brought forward. It's a series of text messages, their content explosive, lines that hint at hidden alliances, late-night discussions, conversations that were meant to be secret, now laid bare for all to see. Some messages curt and commanding, others tender but deceptive. The contrast itself may be enough to make any person doubt loyalty and motive. The judge leans back in his chair, adjusting his glasses. "This is troubling," he says in a low tone, almost to himself. "Very troubling," the audience murmurs. Cameras from every media source capture every reaction, every change in emotions. Kody swallows hard, trying to maintain control. But the tension is eating at him. Robyn looks down at the table. Her fingernails drum nervously. Meri's voice softens slightly as she recounts the emotional weight of these years. The sleepless nights wondering if she had misread situations. The quiet heartbreak of discovering betrayal. The quiet resolve that has now led her to this courtroom. "I am not here to destroy anyone," she whispers, though it carries across the room. "I am here to bring the truth to light." As the session wears on, the courtroom becomes a stage on which raw emotion and legal argument collide. Witnesses are called to corroborate Meri's claims. Each one adds layers of tension as they share what they've seen, heard, or experienced. Some prove reluctant, visibly nervous about testifying, while others speak with a certainty that shakes the foundation of Kody and Robyn's narrative. The family's private turmoil is now public spectacle, and the stakes could not be higher. The most dramatic moment comes when the DNA evidence is finally brought forward. Meri watches as the lab technician presents the results. An expectant hush blankets the courtroom like a heavy curtain. Even the air feels thicker, charged with anticipation. The judge's eyes widen slightly, eyebrows raised as he looks at Kody. Files confirm suspicions that have long haunted Meri, and the courtroom reacts almost instinctively. Gasps, murmurs, and a few quiet sobs ripple through the audience. Kody's face cracks for the first time, the first break in his facade. Robyn bites the inside of her cheek, fighting to keep herself together. Meri's chest heaves with a mix of relief, fear, and vindication. The weight of this moment presses down upon all the people present. As the judge continues to consider the evidence, he addresses Kody. "Mr. Brown, do you have anything to say in response to these findings?" His tone is calm, with the unmistakable gravity of the moment. Kody opens his mouth, hesitates, then finally mutters some sort of response that is all but swallowed by the tense silence in the room. The words seem so insufficient, brittle against the storm of facts now at display. Meri steps back, her voice barely a whisper to herself, inaudible but determined. Finally, the truth is out. She does one more sweep of the courtroom before the session is temporarily adjourned, allowing them to digest what has been witnessed. At the conclusion of this session, the emotional dynamics of the family have permanently altered. A courtroom once so formal and antiseptic has now been transformed into an arena of just raw human emotion. Alliances would be questioned, trust fractured, and every participant from Kody, through Robyn to Meri to the judge, felt the weight of years of hidden truths crashing down. The first session went to a close with a hush, leaving everyone to wonder what was to follow. The courtroom is still thick with tension, and at the same time, the air is alive with anticipation. Robyn sits in the corner, fidgeting with her bracelet, her hands shaking slightly in attempts to take her mind off the storm brewing within. She looks at Kody, who had remained stiff and mute, but the slight twitch of his jaw revealed the unease he was desperately trying to conceal. A blur outside the courtroom. Inside, every heartbeat seemed amplified, each whispered conversation echoing in their minds. Meri inhales deeply as the bailiff calls the next witness. This is what she has been preparing for, the person who had been in the shadows for all these years, observing the family dynamics, overhearing secrets, and now ready to share what they saw. The courtroom silences itself with the opening of the door, and a former family friend comes forward, fidgeting with the papers. His voice is firm, but his eyes reveal the weight of what he is about to disclose. "I was there," the witness begins, "for things that no outsider should ever know." Every word hangs in the air like smoke, drifting slowly but leaving a lingering scent of danger. "I saw conversations between Kody and Robyn, hidden from the rest of the family, decisions made in secret, promises broken, and actions that were kept deliberately from everyone. including Christine, Janelle, and Meri. He leans forward, his fingers lightly tapping on the wooden desk to indicate that he is listening intently. The witness continues, relating discussions in the dead of night, private agreements, and instances of manipulation that raise his voice in anger and frustration. The jury members fidget, murmuring quietly among themselves. While members of the public gallery watch with fascination and horror, Meri's eyes follow the witness intently, her face a reflection of relief and apprehension. Each and every detail they reveal confirms her suspicion, which has been carried for years. Kody's hands clench into fists in his lap, knuckles white. Robyn's eyes go wide, with a flash of panic crossing her face. The tension in the room grows thicker and heavier, weighing almost physically on all people present. The witness takes a deep breath and then lets the bomb drop. And then there was the conversation about DNA results. Kody knew more than he let on, and Robyn, she helped conceal the truth. Exclamations run like a wave across the courtroom. The judge adjusts his glasses and, hunched, peered at papers in front of him. It is as if the camera of the mind focused in closely on Kody's face. A flicker of guilt, short but unmistakable, betrayed the calmness he had worked so hard to maintain. Meri feels a wave of vindication wash over her, but also a tinge of fear. The weight of this confrontation, the exposure of long-concealed truths, is almost unbearable. She clutches the edges of her chair, grounding herself. Robyn lowers her head and says something softly to herself. Kody swallows hard as he tries to steady his quaking hands. Even the room seems to hold its breath. As the testimony unfolds, this story becomes more complex. The widow accounts for secretly transferring money and identifies certain decisions involving family members that were not merely personal, but had consequences regarding everyone. It introduces old letters, recordings, each carefully documented to unravel some web of secrets spanning years. This emotional impact can be felt amply as friends and family members present in the courtroom fidgeting with discomfort, some placing their hands over their mouths in shock, others shaking their heads in utter disbelief. Meri interrupts when necessary, her voice calm but firm. Your Honor, these are not just allegations. These are facts supported by evidence, witnessed and recorded. The judge nods slowly, his eyes sweeping the courtroom to judge the reactions of Kody, Robyn, and the jury. The weight of truth presses down, and for a moment, even the seasoned attorneys feel the gravity of the revelations. Even more compelling, the next witness is an insider who had been in their family for many years and had chosen to remain silent out of fear. They speak about the emotional toll the dynamics within the family have caused. Late nights filled with whispered arguments, children caught in the middle, and moments when Meri herself was gaslit and doubted. Their testimony brings tears into the eyes of some audience members, a gut-wrenching reminder of what the human cost is behind this legal battle. Guilt twists Robyn's face, and her lips quiver as she says in a whisper, "I didn't know it would come out like this." Kody narrows his eyes, jaws clenched in an effort to keep himself in check. But for all the efforts, cracks are starting to show. The composed facade has started to crack under the weight of public exposure. Meri sits quietly, listening to the mixed emotions, sorrow, yet a sense of vindication. She feels it all, full scale, anger from the betrayals, sadness for what has been lost through the years, and a cautious hope that, finally, truth is being acknowledged. The courtroom holds its breath as the judge weighs the effect of this testimony. The silence is heavy, filled only by the faint scratch of a pen marking notes. Then, Meri introduces the piece that has everyone holding their breath, the DNA evidence that could confirm the deepest suspicions she's carried. The envelope is handed to the judge. The rustle of paper is almost deafening in the quieted room. Kody's hand jerks involuntarily. Robyn bites her lip with such force that it leaves an indentation. Every head is turned toward the judge, who slowly raises the envelope and commences reviewing the contents. The tension becomes palpable. The judge looks up, his eyes scanning the room, nailing Kody with his rigid stance. Then Robyn's trembling hands and Meri's poised yet anxious posture. He takes a deep breath, as if preparing himself for the gravity of what he's about to declare. This evidence, he begins, voice measured but heavy with meaning. It cannot be ignored. The words hang in the air like a storm cloud ready to burst. Outside, the whispers have already begun, family, friends, and media personnel alike, speculating on what this may mean for the future of the family. Inside the courtroom, however, time seems frozen. Every person starkly aware of the magnitude of the moment as Meri closes her eyes. A wave of emotion washes over her. Validation, fear, an odd sense of relief that the truth is finally being acknowledged. The session continues as the witness reveals even more explosive details. Late-night meetings, private agreements, and attempts at manipulating perception within the family. With each of these revelations, another layer is peeled back from the web that Kody and Robyn had so meticulously been weaving. The jury are leaning in, enthralled, while the audience is watching with a mixture of astonishment and horror. Even the judge, seasoned with many courtroom theatrics, still manages to look taken aback by how deep the deception goes. Robyn's composure begins to slip completely. Tears stream down her cheeks as she speaks apologies under her breath, though nobody else can hear them. Kody's face hardens, but his eyes give him away, darting back and forth in that moment of panic and realization that the walls are closing in. Meri is resolute. Relief, sadness, and silent triumph all etched across her features. The session nears its end, and the judge calls for a short recess. Everyone rises, moving slowly, still trying to digest what they've just heard. Whispers in the courtroom grow into a chorus of speculation, and the air becomes thick with uncertainty and anticipation. Outside, the sun begins to set lower, casting long shadows off the floors, shining like the shadow of secrets that has finally seen the light of day. Meri walks to the back of the courtroom, catching her breath. Next witness, final evidence, and the emotional confrontation that is yet to come swirl in her head. She knows this is just the beginning. Kody and Robyn exchange a look behind her, a silent acknowledgement of the cracks within their carefully curated reality. As the courtroom clears for recess, one thing is certain: this trial has forever been changed. Alliances have been fractured, emotions are raw, and the family will never be the same. The courtroom, once a formal procedure, feels like the epicenter of a storm that could soon consume everyone. The courtroom door opens, and a hush as heavy as anticipation fills the room. A figure steps forward, someone who once was firmly in Kody's inner circle, an insider privy to all the family secrets. For years, the insider had remained silent, bound by loyalty and fear. On this day, however, it is resolve, not fear, that takes precedence. And the courtroom stiffens for the storm they are about to unleash. Meri watches closely as the witness adjusts the microphone, hands trembling, but eyes steady. Kody sits rigid in his chair, fingers tightening around the armrest, jaw clenched. Robyn's lips part slightly, her nails digging into her palms as she tries to maintain composure. The judge leans forward, silent but alert, recognizing the weight of the testimony that is about to unfold. "I was there," the insider begins, voice calm but resonant, "when choices were made that should have never been kept from the rest of the family. I saw decisions hidden from Christine, Janelle, and Meri. I watched as Robyn and Kody navigated a web of secrets so tangled that even they could barely see the consequences of their actions." A shiver runs through the room. The audience leans in, hanging on every word. The testimony is not merely a recitation of facts, but an emotional revelation. The insider tells of late-night meetings, whispered agreements, and moments of manipulation that had left the family fractured well before this courtroom drama began. Kody shifts uncomfortably. His calm veneer begins to break, and tension rises. Robyn's eyes widen as a flicker of panic crosses her face. Everything she had thought was private is suddenly exposed. Meri's chest rises and falls in a mixture of anticipation and cautious satisfaction. Every word confirms the suspicions she's held for years. The insider continues, providing evidence that corroborates Meri's claims. Text messages, voice recordings, and first-hand accounts of conversations where Kody and Robyn had discussed withholding information from the rest of the family. Every piece of evidence lands like a hammer, striking at the carefully maintained facade. The jury leans forward, transfixed, while the audience in the gallery murmurs in disbelief. "This isn't about misunderstandings," says the insider, their voice rising slightly with emotion. "This is about deliberate choices made to manipulate, to control, and to hide the truth. And it's time someone finally told the story, as it really happened." Meri swallows hard, feeling the weight of this moment. It is as though the courtroom shrank, with every pair of eyes locked onto just three main actors: herself, Kody, and Robyn. Kody's hands are balled into fists. Robyn's breathing comes in shallow spurts. The tension in the air is palpable, almost suffocating. The judge clears his voice to signal the next line of questioning. "Please, provide examples of such deliberate choices," he asks, his voice measured but firm. The insider nods, producing a folder full of documents and photographs. "Here," they say, sliding the folder forward. "These messages, these recordings, they show intent. They show a pattern of concealment, deception, and manipulation." Kody knew, and Robyn helped ensure it remained hidden. The courtroom reacts instantly. Gasps and murmurings fill the air. Kody flushes, a mixture of anger and fear. Robyn bites her lip, trying to hold back tears. Meri's eyes glisten with emotion, but her voice is firm. She knows this moment is pivotal, a turning point, where the hidden truths begin to emerge fully into the light. The insider continues, relating a conversation that had been kept secret for years, a discussion in which Kody admitted to questionable choices, and Robyn assured him no one else would ever know. The witness recounts the dialogue with precision, the words themselves dripping with tension. Kody said, "If they find out, everything changes." And Robyn said, "They'll never know." "I'll make sure of it." The courtroom reacts instantly. A hush falls over the room, as though the words themselves have frozen time. Kody looks around, his eyes darting in search of some sort of escape, while Robyn's hands uncontrollably begin to shake. The judge leans back, his fingers drumming lightly on the desk as he processes the weight of this testimony. Meri feels a surge of vindication. All these years of doubt, whispered suspicions, and sleepless nights finally get validation in real time. Yet, beneath the relief, a sense of fear lingers, the knowledge that the battle is far from over. It was insider testimony that had opened up this doorway to further revelations, and no one knew what was coming next. Things get even tenser, as the insider reveals a previously unknown document, a handwritten note detailing conversations, promises, and instructions to keep the truth behind closed doors. The note explicitly named Robyn as an accomplice, and Kody was fully aware of the deception. The courtroom gasps. The judge adjusts his glasses, leaning closer to read the document. Kody's jaw tightens. Tears well up in Robyn's eyes. Meri's hands shake, just a little, but not in fear. Instead, from the emotional weight of justice, finally coming full circle. The insider takes a deep breath as their voice lowers and carries across the courtroom. "There's one more thing," they say, pausing for dramatic effect. Something Kody and Robyn never thought would ever see the light of day. The audience leans forward, hanging on every word. "It's a matter of DNA," the insider continues, their tone steady but heavy. "Results that were manipulated, hidden, and used to mislead the family. Meri had the courage to uncover the truth. And now it's here, in this courtroom." The judge's eyes widen slightly. The murmurs in the audience grow louder. Kody's face turns white. Robyn covers her mouth with her hands, whispering something inaudible. Meri's pulse quickens in this flutter of relief and vindication and anticipation. This is the crescendo, the evidence that could finally settle the questions that have haunted them all for years. The attorney for the defense rises quickly, attempting to challenge the credibility of the insider. "Your Honor," he begins in a measured but strained voice. "While the witness has provided detailed testimony, we must question the accuracy and motives behind these claims. Emotions are running high, and perception can often distort reality." Meri listens calmly, her eyes locked on Kody. She knows that no matter how skilled the defense is, the truth she holds cannot be erased. She leans forward slightly, prepared to respond, to guide the courtroom back to the undeniable facts. As the session wears on, the insider continues to detail how the manipulated DNA results were utilized to maintain control, mislead family members, and protect some relationships while isolating others. The weight of the testimony presses upon the entire courtroom, leaving few untouched. Several members of the jury fidget uncomfortably. A few cover their faces in disbelief. Kody's composure continues to crack, and Robyn's attempts to maintain a facade of calm fall apart. Meri feels a wave of emotions wash over her. Sorrow for the years of deceit, relief that the truth is finally out, and a growing sense of empowerment. She knows that while this testimony is damning, it is also the beginning of the end of the family's carefully constructed illusions. The session concludes with the insider producing, as the last piece of evidence, some digital files, which were highly organized, time-stamped, and showed patterns of deception and concealment. The judge accepts the files, glancing over them briefly, before looking back into the courtroom. His gaze sweeps across Kody and Robyn, lingering just a moment longer than usual, as if weighing the gravity of the moment. Meri exhales slowly, letting the tension drain from her shoulders just slightly, knowing that the trial is far from over. Kody's eyes flicker with panic. Robyn's face is pale, her hands shaking. The audience is silent, entranced by the unraveling drama, feeling that what they have seen thus far, in the way of revelations, is only the beginning. As the session concludes, the courtroom empties out slowly, but the weight of the revelations lingers. Outside, the whispers grow, speculations abound, and everyone who has witnessed this trial knows one thing for sure: the family's dynamics have been changed irreparably. Meri walks to the back of the courtroom, her shoulders squared, her eyes focused. The path ahead is still riddled with complications, but she has planted the seeds of truth, and nothing can reverse them now. The courtroom feels like it's on the edge of collapse, tension practically vibrating in the air. The walls, once neutral and sterile, now seem to absorb the weight of every secret, every betrayal, and every unspoken truth that has been exposed over the past sessions. The sun has dipped lower, casting golden streaks across the polished floor, bringing out the silent storm of emotions etched upon every face. Meri sits poised, yet alert, her fingers clasped around the folder, holding the next bombshells. Kody is rigid, his jaw clenched, and Robyn's eyes dart nervously around the room, aware that the next revelation could break the fragile composure she clings to. The judge clears his throat to indicate that the session will now begin. "We shall go ahead and call the next witness," he declares, firm but measured in his tone, as his gaze sweeps over the courtroom. The air thickens as everyone braces for the drama about to unfold. The witness steps forward, someone who has remained in the shadows for years now, silent, observing the hidden dynamics within this family. He takes a deep breath, knowing today, every secret shall be brought out. I've stayed silent for too long. The witness starts, her voice steady, yet with a quiver of emotion. I've seen things that were meant to remain hidden, promises broken, and truths buried. Today, I can no longer remain silent. Their eyes scan the courtroom, locking briefly on Kody and Robyn, a mixture of accusation and sorrow. Reflected in their gaze, the courtroom collectively holds its breath. Every word seems to echo off the walls, reverberating through the hearts of everyone present. Meri leans forward slightly, a mix of anticipation and cautious relief. This testimony promises to connect the dots in ways that will leave no room for denial. Robyn presses her hands against her lap and grips them so tightly, her knuckles whiten as Kody shifts uncomfortably, the tension in his shoulders betraying his calm facade. Private meetings, hidden conversations, and secret decisions between Kody and Robyn are detailed by the witness. Each revelation is carefully placed in a tapestry of betrayal and manipulation. The late-night phone calls, the whispered discussions, and private agreements with exclusion of other family members, all are presented with precision and emotional clarity. The jury leans forward, enthralled, while the audience in the gallery shifts in their chairs, absorbing the raw intensity of the testimony. I saw conversations where Kody admitted things he never shared with anyone else. The witness continues, voice steady but firm. And Robyn, she was complicit. She helped hide the truth, ensured secrets stayed buried, and made choices that hurt the family. A murmur of gasps ripples through the courtroom. Kody's jaw clenches tighter, his hands fisting on the armrests. Robyn's lips tremble, and she looks down at her folded hands as if wishing she could disappear. Meri's chest rises on a tangled combination of triumph and sorrow. The validation of so many years of suspicion, mixed with the heartbreak of actually witnessing firsthand how deep the betrayal ran. The judge nods slowly, his eyes absorbing every detail, as he asks for evidence to support these claims in a very still, heavy with gravity voice. The witness pulls a folder forward, full of text messages, emails, and photos, the precise pieces of the puzzle that corroborate prior testimony and provide clear evidence of hiding and manipulation. The courtroom reacts immediately, murmurs throughout the audience. Kody's eyes flash with panic as he realizes what he's facing. Robyn swallows and tries to regain composure, but her trembling hands betray her nervousness. The witness pauses dramatically, then starts up again and refers to a very pivotal point when important evidence, the DNA results, was intentionally concealed. They explain how it was manipulated, only shared with a select few, and used to manipulate the perceptions of the family members. Meri's heart quickens as she listens. This is the confirmation she has been waiting for, the puzzle piece that would link all suspicions into undeniable truth. The courtroom is on edge. The judge leans forward, his eyes narrowing slightly as he processes the implications of the testimony. Kody's face has gone pale. His hands quiver a little. Robyn wipes her eyes with a tissue, murmuring a barely audible apology. Meri doesn't flinch. She knows justice is finally taking shape. Even while the cost is staggering, the witness continues, describing the emotional toll these secrets had on the family. Children caught in the crossfire, siblings unsure whom to trust, and the pervasive sense of confusion and betrayal permeating every corner of the household. Their voice grows quieter, but more intense, painting a vivid picture of a family fractured by deception. I've watched trust crumble, they say, eyes glistening. I've seen the damage caused when truth is hidden. And today, that truth cannot be ignored any longer. Meri rises slightly, prepared to interject. if necessary. But she allows the witness to continue. The testimony flows into specifics, hidden financial decisions, secret communications, and moments where Kody and Robyn's actions directly denied values they publicly purported to uphold. Each revelation adds another layer of tension, drawing the audience deeper into the drama. Kody fidgets in his chair. His composure cracks a little more with every sentence. Robyn's shoulders slump, her hands shaking, struggling to keep composed. Meri is tearful but resolute. Every single revelation makes her case stronger. Every confession, every document confirming her years of investigation, every micro-expression from Kody and Robyn reinforces the credibility of her claims. The judge briefly intervenes, taking the attention of the courtroom to some documents showing financial records and communications that corroborate the testimony of the witness. As the evidence is unraveled, the weight of the deception becomes undeniable. The air in the courtroom is electric. Every eye is on the documents, every mind racing to fully comprehend the depth of betrayal. Finally, the witness delivers the moment that leaves the courtroom reeling. They describe a hidden conversation between Kody and Robyn that explicitly outlines a plan to manipulate family perceptions and conceal the DNA evidence. The details are precise, the implications devastating. Kody's face drains of color, and Robyn's hands shake so violently that she drops her tissues. Meri sits back slightly, exhaling slowly, knowing this is the moment she has worked toward for years. Gasps erupt in the courtroom. Ripples of murmurs course through the gallery as the full weight of the revelation begins to sink in. Even the judge pauses, carefully reading from the transcript and documents, and delving into the gravity of it all. The layers of deception are undeniable and palpable. Meri feels this weird mix of relief, sorrow, and vindication. The emotional, long-expected confrontation is finally here, and the truth is coming out with full force. Kody's stiff posture starts to break. Robyn's completely falls apart, and it's like the courtroom is a pressure cooker ready to explode. As the session draws to a close, the judge calls for a short recess for everyone to reflect on what has been said. The air is thick with tension, and outside, the whispering of speculations grows louder, as all consider the enormity of what has just been revealed. The courtroom feels smaller now, the walls closing in with the weight of secrets and revelations. The late afternoon sun streams through the tall windows, casting long dramatic shadows across the floor. Meri sits quietly, folder in hand, her chest rising and falling with controlled breaths. She's conscious of every eye in the room. Kody's hard, tense gaze, Robyn's trembling hands, the jury bending forward, hungry for the next revelation. And yet, there's a strange calm in her demeanor. She knows the storm is about to hit its peak. The next witness is called, and an audible hush spreads through the courtroom. This testimony is deeply personal. A child of the family, now grown, stepping forward to share their perspective. The atmosphere shifts immediately. It's no longer just legal evidence on display. This is raw, emotional truth. The air becomes heavy with anticipation, the kind that makes your chest tighten. Everyone senses that this testimony will cut deeper than any document or text message ever could. The young adult rises, their hands shaking slightly as they grasp the edge of the witness stand. I need to tell the truth about what happened, they begin, voice quivering but resolute. I've stayed silent for years, trying to protect everyone. But the lies, the secrets, they hurt me, and they hurt all of us. Their eyes flick toward Kody and Robyn, holding a mix of anger, sadness, and betrayal. Meri leans forward slightly, heart pounding. It's the moment she's waited for, the emotional validation of the years of suspicion and hurt. Robyn's lips part slightly, a faint whimper escaping, while Kody sits rigid, jaw tight, as if preparing for an emotional blow. he knows is coming. The child describes late-night arguments overheard, moments of whispered tension, and times when the family's children were caught in the middle of adult conflicts. I didn't understand why some truths were hidden from us. They continue, voice rising with emotion. Why decisions were made that affected our lives, but we were never told. And I watched. I watched as mom and dad made choices that seemed to protect themselves rather than us. The witness breaks off. Their eyes are wet and shining. The silence that falls is deafening. Even the murmurs from the audience die away as everyone absorbs the weight of their testimony. Robyn buries her face in her hands, shaking, while Kody's eyes go hard, though a flicker of something like guilt crosses them. Meri's hands tighten on the folder, whitening her knuckles, but her voice doesn't waver. "Thank you," she whispers softly, as though acknowledging both the pain and the courage it took to speak. The tension in the courtroom slowly rises as the witness continued testifying, giving specific examples of things Kody and Robyn have done that had emotionally manipulated the relationships within the family. They speak of nights filled with whispered instructions, instructions meant to control perception, isolate certain family members, and maintain a facade of unity while hiding fractures that ran deep. Members of the jury listened intently, captivated by the emotional weight laced within every utterance. Meri feels both pride and sorrow. Pride that the truth is finally coming to light, and sorrow for all the years of deception that caused pain to everybody, most especially the children. Robyn's composure continues to crack, small sobs escaping despite her attempts to remain quiet. Kody's face is a mask of tension, the cracks in his controlled exterior growing more pronounced with every word. The judge leans forward, his voice almost calm, but heavy with gravity. "Can you provide more detail regarding how these hidden actions affected family dynamics?" The child pauses for a moment, then exhales slowly, voice steadying. "It created fear and confusion. We didn't know who to trust. Every decision felt weighted with secrecy, and it made me question the people I thought I knew." Their words hang in the air like a storm cloud. The tension ramps up even higher when the child reveals a private message chain between Kody and Robyn, one that had been hidden from all other family members. The messages confirm deliberate manipulation and concealment, showing how certain truths were withheld to maintain control over relationships and perceptions. The courtroom reacts instantly. Gasps, murmurs, and even audible sobs ripple through the gallery. Kody's hands tighten into fists. Robyn's shoulders shake as if carrying the weight of the world. Meri's heartbeat quickens. She feels somehow vindicated. Yet the cost of this emotionally is quite evident. The pain of her family secrets, her children's suffering, and the betrayal all laid in front of an audience almost proves too overwhelming to bear. But there's a sort of quiet determination that steadies her. She knows this is necessary for justice, for truth, for healing. The insider witness from the last session is called to corroborate these emotional accounts, connecting the child's experience to Kody and Robyn's clandestine actions, confirming messages, meetings, and whispered instructions. They sought to control the family's narrative. The two-witness testimony weaves an undeniable web of truth. The courtroom is holding its collective breath. Robyn breaks down, with tears streaming down her face, her voice trembling. I didn't know it would be like this," she mumbles, in a low, almost inaudible, but clear voice. Kody's face contorts, his knuckles clenched, as he struggles not to break down, but the cracks are undeniable. Meri says nothing, the emotions washing over the courtroom, in a moment where the truth she's fought for is finally being acknowledged. The judge calls for a short recess as the emotional intensity has reached a peak. People in the gallery whisper among themselves. Some cover their mouths in shock, while others exchange glances that reflect uneasiness. Outside the courtroom, the tension spills over, with the echoes of the day's revelations lingering in the hallways. Meri steps out into the open air for a moment, savoring a breath of fresh air. Her hands still shake, but beneath the exhaustion, there's a core of quiet triumph. It's not over the other witnesses. Evidence and emotional confrontations are yet to come, but she has weathered the first storm. A look is exchanged between Kody and Robyn. It is a mix of fear, guilt, and uncertainty. Inside, they both knew the walls of secrecy they had built were crumbling down much sooner than they had ever expected. With each revelation, the control they had over the narrative was slowly but surely being chipped away, and the emotional toll could not be more evident. The session resumes with a new witness, someone close to the family, but previously overlooked, whose testimony promises to be the emotional heart of this trial. Their words will connect the personal betrayals to the legal evidence, creating a narrative that is both heart-wrenching and damning. Meri sits poised, listening intently, her mind racing with anticipation. Kody shifts uncomfortably, aware that every word could be another blow to his credibility. Robyn wipes her face with a tissue, trying to regain composure. But it's clear that the weight of exposure is crushing. The courtroom is a theater of human emotion, where every glance, every pause, and every word conveys deep meaning. As the last minutes of the session are unraveling, it is then that the child witness utters a line that strikes a blow to the heart. "I just wanted a family that was honest with me. I never wanted to feel like the truth was something I had to dig for." The courtroom falls silent, the weight of the statement hanging in the air. Even the normally stoic judge seems momentarily affected, nodding slightly to acknowledge the emotional truth of what has been presented.